All right, folks, we're on section 2.2, solving two-step equations. My essential question asks, how can I solve equations that contain two operations? All right, so we talked about last lesson, we talked about coefficients, and today we're going to use coefficients still, but then we're going to also use the idea of a constant. And we've talked about that a little bit this year, but I want to make sure we are very clear on what a constant is, as it is the number without a variable in an expression or equation. All right, so to clarify, if I give you this expression, now this is an expression, not an equation, 2x plus 3. We have two parts to this and two vocabulary terms that we can use. We have our coefficient, I'll just label it as the co, and then we have a constant. All right, the coefficient, hopefully you understand here, is 2, because that's the number in front of the variable. The constant is the 3, it's by itself. Let's look at another one. X over 2 minus 6. I can still identify the same things. Coefficient, constant. I'll start with constant this time. Don't forget the sign in front of it. That makes the constant a -6. The coefficient, you may in your brain say, well, I don't see a number in front of the variable, so I guess it's just 1. But that's not true, because x over 2 really is telling me, x divided by 2. But if I want to change that into like multiplication, that would be 1/2 times x. So technically, my coefficient in this example would be 1/2. If it was x over 6, it'd be 1/6. If it was x over 10, it'd be 1/10. If there was just a fraction in front of it and no denominator, then it'd be whatever that fraction is. Okay? So just so we are clear on that. All right, so let's start with some examples and let's go through some specific rules to follow when solving two-step equations. Example 1. X over 3 plus 2 equals 10. All right? So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to obviously we want to get the variable by itself. And in order to do that, we have to go in reverse order of PEMDAS. And obviously we need to still use using inverse operations. So for a simple two-step equation like this, we need to add or subtract first. After we do that, then we can multiply or divide, depending on the type of problem that it is. So, do I want to, this is divide by 3, so do I want to multiply both sides by 3? Or since this is adding 2, do I want to subtract 2 from both sides? Well, it tells me to add or subtract. So I'm going to do the inverse operations like always. So instead of plus 2, we are going to subtract 2. Step B. I'm going to, from here on out, just call this the golden rule. The golden rule is what I do to one side, I do to the other. So since I'm subtracting 2 here, I need to subtract 2 there. Bring everything down correctly. Those cancel out. I'm left with x over 3. 10 minus 2 is 8. Now I'm down to a one-step equation. Now I'm going to multiply or divide. Well, it's x divided by 3, so instead of dividing by 3, we are going to multiply by 3. And what I do to one side still, I do to the other. These cancel out over here on the left side. So I'm left with x. 8 times 3 is 24. We think 24 is the solution, but we better check just in case. All right, so I'm going to come over here to the side. right here and do our checking. I'm going to plug in 24 for our x. So 24 divided by 3 plus 2, hopefully that equals 10. So in my brain, I'm going to solve this left side according to order of operations. 24 divided by 3 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. Does 10 equal 10? Yes, it does. That is my solution. Let's try another one. Example 2. Negative 6 minus 3x equals 21. Now this one switched around from the last one a little bit, but it's the same type of idea. Do I want to divide by negative 3? Don't forget the subtraction sign makes the 3 negative, and it's a coefficient, so am I going to divide by negative 3? Or do I need to move the 6 over there? Obviously, I'm going to need to move the negative 6 from the left side to the right side. The way I do that is inverse operations, which is adding 6 to both sides. When I add 6 to both sides, I'm going to be left with this entire thing that sometimes we make mistakes on. We forget this negative sign, which is also subtraction sign. All the same thing. So negative 3x, 21 plus 6 is 27. Now I need to multiply or divide. Well, it's negative 3 times x, so we have to do the inverse. So we're going to divide by negative 3 on both sides. And when I do that, I get x equals negative 9. But just in case, let's come over here and check. Negative 9 is going to plug in for this x. So I have negative 6 minus 3 times negative 9, and hopefully that equals 21. All right, now I'm going to solve, like I said last time, I'm going to solve this left side on its own. I have to do order of operations. So I have to go negative 3 times negative 9. Again, this is a negative 3 because that subtraction sign makes it negative. Negative 3 times negative 9 gives me a positive 27. Negative 6 plus 27, that equals 21. And 21 equals 21. That is my solution. Let's do one more. Hopefully we don't run out of space. 2 minus 3x equals negative 19. Again, the coefficient and variable will move that last. The constant we're going to move first. It is a positive 2. The only way to get rid of a positive 2 is to subtract 2. Now I don't want to make an integer mistake here. Those cancel out. I'm left with all of that. So I'm left with negative 3x. Negative 19 minus 2, that is negative 21. If I make a mistake there, which is common sometimes due to the fact that it's integers, when I go back and check my answer at the end, I'll be able to see that I made a mistake somewhere, and I gotta go back and figure out what it is. So now we'll multiply or divide, so I have to get x by itself, so I'm gonna divide by negative 3 on both sides to get x by itself, and x equals 7. But we should check. So I'm gonna come over here to the side and check just to make sure I didn't make any mistakes. 2 minus 3 times 7 equals negative 19. I'm going to solve this left side according to order of operations. Negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. 2 minus 21 is negative 19. And that equals negative 19. So that is my solution. Hopefully these examples help you out. Your homework is going to be assignment 0, 1, 2.